Hello, my friend, and welcome to Securely Insecure, hosted by me, Johnny Seifert. This is the Celebrity Mental Health podcast where I say it's okay to not be okay. And if you have the same mantra as me, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening, then click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get a notification every week that there's a new episode out, and leave a 5-star rating and a review. And let's keep spreading the word in 2024. It's okay to not be okay. Now, let me tell you about my guest today. Today is a very special day for my guest. As we record, it's a decade since she made a splash in her swimsuit on national TV, where she did that forward pike. Now, I absolutely loved watching her in her swimming costume. I'm sure you did as well. And since then, she's gone on to do amazing things. You know, she's on Security Insecure every single year. You know about the relationship place. You know about the LuAnna podcast that she'll cause at Champions to. And of course, Celebs Go Dating. So with thanks to David Lloyd for setting up this interview, I'm delighted to welcome back to Security Insecure for her annual visit and a splash. It's Anna Williamson.
Oh, Johnny, as always, give that boy an
Yeah,
MBE for
stop.
services to broadcasting. Do you know something? I didn't know today was my 10-year anniversary. It is, isn't it, from Splash?
It is.
Yes.
It was Heat
So
2
when
today, 10 years ago.
gosh, when I battered and bruised my body all in the name of light entertainment. And I loved every minute of it.
And what happened to that cast and Vernon Kay, I wonder?
But in my wardrobe, I've got hanging up the swimming costumes that I wore for Splash. And I tell you, I couldn't even get my calf in them now, let alone my body.
I mean, it was a really weird show, and I don't know how you describe it, because it was before
Yeah.
the jump on Channel 4, and it was ITV's big show of here's some celebs, and they're going to learn to dive with Tom Daley and la da 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 da. And it never kind of went, oh, look at everyone that were wanting to dive. Whereas Dancing on Ice, you go, oh, I want to go to Winter Wonderland and I want to go ice skating. So what
Yeah.
happened to your diving career afterwards?
Do you know, I loved doing that. But you're right. I think I got asked to do it. It was firstly, I like doing things that I've never done before and like kind of pushing myself to the extreme. And also I'm highly anxious around heights and swimming pools. So why not go and do that on live television, eh? It was a really fun show to do, but for me it was the prospect of being trained to dive by the Olympic team, the Olympic. I thought, God, when does anyone get a chance to do that? And funnily enough, my dad actually is really into like watching diving on the telly. I actually really like watching diving on the telly. I think it's really interesting. And I decided to do the training. And then, oh my goodness, as everybody will tell you that took part in that show and that does diving, it is one of the most difficult sports ever. It is so physical. And about 70% of the training is actually done out of the pool. You do it in the gym, like a gym. You learn to be a gymnast basically before you even get in the pool. And it is the most painful, terrifying experience hitting that water from those heights. But it was such camaraderie. And I think because everyone that was in that show, all the celebs that were in that show, unlike some of the other shows like Dancing on Ice or Strictly, where you have a pro partner to kind of lean on, we didn't have any of those. It was just us. So we all kind of hung on to each other for dear life, really. And it was the most wonderful. Like I became really good friends after that with Una Healy, Keith Duffy, and Rav Wilding. Like we all became really good friends actually. And it was a great show. I think they should bring it back. I just don't think they could probably get everyone insured because I don't think anybody came out of it without an injury.
Well, that's why the jump got axed as well, because
Yeah.
the insurance was horrific. But what's interesting about a show like that is you, as a celebrity, went on a show to do an experience. And it was very much, you're going onto a show like Splash, and that's that. 10 years on, we look at the reason why people do reality shows, whether you're a celebrity or a civilian. And it's all about, what does this mean for my career? What does this mean for my Instagram followers? What does this mean for my YouTube numbers?
Yes, it's transactional.
And when we look at that transaction 10 years later, with your mental health hat on, and we'll talk about your diploma in a second, but I'm just interested in how in the past 10 years it's all changed, because you've obviously gone from being the celebrity contestant yourself to watching
Yeah.
people on Celebs Go Dating, of the validation that people need for that transaction and how important it is to get on a TV show. But from a mental health perspective of this is them thinking they've completed it and now this is their mission in life. And yet they're just normal people who seek this fame, but for what reason?
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think, 10 years ago, we were in a very different space as to what we are now. It felt, dare I say it, far more innocent, really, 10 years ago, in the sense that there was no, you didn't sign up for any other gain other than, I speak for myself here, but I will speak for everybody else that I think was on that show with me. You didn't sign up for a career thing. You know, we didn't. I don't even think was Instagram even around them. I don't even know if it was. Was it just about? It probably, yeah, just about, wasn't it? But we all did it because, yeah, we were paid to do it. I'm not going to lie. Of course you are. You're not going to give up, you know, an enormous part of your diary just to line ITV's coffers, you know. But at the same time, we weren't paid loads. I'll be completely honest with you. It was a nice, you know, more than token gesture. You know, we did that, and I know I did that. I signed up for that because I wanted to be in the moment. And I think that's the difference now. And I work with a lot of reality celebrities on and off camera, you know, in a coaching sense. And yeah, it's a lot more strategic now with the sort of birth of influencers and social media and reality shows and how they have evolved. And, you know, TV, just by the very nature of TV, as you will know, it's pushing the boundaries more and more because it's more competitive and everyone is looking for the next thing that's going to create headlines. So with that, it becomes pushing yourself to do more and more. And I don't really think there's sort of any topic really that hasn't been touched now. And I think we need to be really careful with that. And that's what I say to people, because once you've done it, it's out there. And I always say to people, if you're doing reality TV, if you've done it in the past, you're doing it now, you know, why is the big question. What is your motivation for this? What are you aiming to get from it? Now, the answer could be anything, but as long as you're happy with the answer, that's the main thing. And as long as, you know, and I always say to people, as I'm sure you know, getting into this industry for fame and money, you know, it is firstly very hard to come by, and very hard in the minority that do reach that. It's very hard to sustain. And I would also say the people that have reached that, I don't think there's that many people that would attest to being it's truly made all their dreams come true and they're truly happy. And this is what, particularly with Celebs Go Dating as well, I find is the commonality all throughout it is the pressures and the rose-tinted glasses of reality and fame and money, and then the other side, the pitfalls, the trolling, the competitiveness, the relevance, and lacking in having solid foundations really to help carry you through sustaining that type of lifestyle, which can't be sustained forever.
So what do you do though when you look at relevance and you look at that sustainability of it? When you've got people coming to you, clients who are civilians or those reality stars indeed, and they're saying, "Well, I want to be on TV because I want X, Y, Z," and then they're competing with themselves in the future. How do you stop that competition happening? Because it's very easy to go, "Well, I've got 1,000 followers, and now I've come out of a TV show and I've got 100,000, but that person's got 1 million and they left the TV show before me," and there's this competitiveness, but they're only competing with themselves at the end of the day.
I would say, so what? So what does that mean? You know, what are you measuring your success and your self-worth against? What? A load of numbers? And who are those numbers? Are they bots? Are they real people? Are they people that are following you because they like you or because they want to troll you? You know, are they even real people? You know, who are these people, and why does a number validate your success and your relevance and your value? And it really is about quality over quantity. Now, I get it. I get the comparison. I really do. I know it's easier said than done to go, oh, that person, they seem more popular than me. They've got more Instagram followers than me. They're getting bigger brand deals than me. Da, 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 da. But by constantly chasing and focusing on other people, what you're doing is diminishing the focus on yourself. So quit looking at what Joe Bloggs is doing next to you, because honey, they're doing them. They're in their own lane, right? You stay in your lane. You focus on what you do, what you're about, what you want to do, where you want to be, what you want to achieve, and crucially, why and how you're going to sustain that. You'll be far better off than by trying to chase those around you who we can't do anything about. We can't do anything about anybody else. We can't do anything and control anybody else, nor should we. But we can change and control the way we view things, the way that we do things. And that's what we need to focus on ourselves, be introspective.
It's quite interesting. I'm reading at the moment Brianna Wist's book, The Mountain Is You, and she said this amazing quote of, think about the successes that you can't picture and you can't put on Instagram and that sit only in yourself. And it's exactly what you're saying about what is it for you and what does this mean for the journey that you're going on. And I'm interested about your journey. I'm always interested about your journey. But you've just done your level 6 diploma in effective psychotherapy with CBT. God, it's a mouthful.
It's an easy one, isn't it?
And that's the course as well. That's not even the course. Why now? Why did you want to keep rising? Because I've looked at courses in the past, and we've spoken about this privately before.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
always more you can do. There's more courses and
always.
more courses. Why now did you want to do this course in particular?
It's a great question. So I've been sort of beavering away at that for about a year and a half. I like learning. And I guess in order to stay sharp and to keep evolving in what I do. So I think importantly, going back to the initial question, it's doing something that you enjoy and going back to that why. Like I say, with anyone that does whatever job they do, particularly in the celebrity world, why? What are you doing it for? And also, what if that wasn't there anymore? Then what? What are you going to do with that? And I faced that years ago. I've been in telly broadcasting 25 years. And I got so, when I had a mental breakdown in my early 20s, I got so, I just had a moment of clarity around the amount of control I put in other people for me having a job. It was either yes or no, whether I got a TV job. And I felt really disempowered by that. And it really did exacerbate my anxiety. And it also made me drop my standards because I was desperate. Well, not desperate, but I could be more desperate to say yes to something just because I needed to pay a mortgage. And when I had my breakdown, I sort of had a bit of clarity around that. And I wanted to study coaching and counseling because it just really interested me. And I've always been a people person and I find it really interesting, and particularly children. It started with children because I was a children's presenter, and Childline was where sort of my route in, really, of realizing this wonderful place where you can help others. And then particularly using your own story and experiences to help enrich what you do professionally by way of empathy and rapport. So I started sort of studying and training in that. And then as the years have gone on, you're naturally interested in different areas. And psychotherapy was something that's always really interested me. We Freud and stuff like that. And I've always sort of read about it, not really know that much about it, but it was just an area that I wanted to look into more, particularly as things like trauma and anxiety are so prevalent now, that I felt that having just looking at different modalities, really, of how different people can approach helping people, really. And so that's why I decided to take this course on, and I've kind of been working away. And I think really it comes down to it enriches me. When I come away at the end of the day and I carve out those days just for me, and I sit there with my laptop and my coach, my trainer, my teacher, and I sit there and I ask questions. I love being that geek sitting there asking questions and being held accountable, I guess. And yeah, essentially it comes from a place of enjoyment. But I guess I didn't go through a traditional education, so I like the fact that I'm 42 and I still want to learn and still can.
Well, you mentioned you're a TV presenter, an excellent one, it has to be said. Excellent
Oh,
guest
thanks,
presenter. You
darling.
know that.
Oh, I loved
Um,
it.
when you do the course and you start thinking about other clients and obviously you reflect on yourself, how do you look at that former Anna Williamson now? That is that girl in her 20s that you're now looking on as a case study almost based on the course that you're studying.
That's such an interesting point. It comes from experience, and I think actually now I'm in the best place of my life to be doing what I'm doing outside of TV. Obviously everything kind of runs. I wear different hats that all kind of feed into each other. But I guess, yeah, reflectively, I look back at that 20-something young girl who had stars in their eyes and was living the dream. But that time was also in a very coercively controlling relationship, which is sort of where all my mental health or mental illness spiraled from. And yeah, I guess I have a deep empathy and sympathy for people that kind of don't know the tools to be introspective and to know that they matter and that they care, and that how to be strong and how to be resilient and how to unapologetically be you. And going back to you were saying about Instagram and reality stars and measuring yourself against other people, I'm always going on about being authentic, it is really important, but to truly really sit in that authentic place is enormously empowering, like I do, and I don't mean this in any way to kind of blow smoke up my backside, far from it. But when you see me on Instagram, not at that party, not hanging out with a cocktail, nothing wrong with that, by the way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when instead you see me with no makeup on, sat with my cat on my lap, watching Strictly or whatever it may be, that's just me. And it's being really confident in saying, this is who I am as a person. I'm not trying to be anything I'm not. And you will find people, I think, respect you and identify with you a lot more doing that.
So that's the authentic you now in your 40s. But when you look at
Mm.
that 20s version of you, have you forgiven the Anna who wasn't authentic to herself and who probably should have done different things?
Oh yeah, 100% forgiven. I don't live with any regrets. Even the abusive relationship I was in. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would rather not have had that experience, but it taught me so much. It taught me a lot about the gaping holes in my life of how I viewed myself, how I communicated with others, how loads of things. And I think I lived like, I've got to sound like I'm half dead. I definitely enjoyed my teens and my 20s, my 30s, but I'm enjoying my 40s just as much, and I think as every sort of decade has gone on, it's just been a different version of myself. But I think I've always been someone that has just approached life to the full. And I think what has done that, particularly in recent years, is having really seen the bottom of the trench of fleetingly thinking that not being here might be the better option. And that is what depression and anxiety and trauma can do to you. So I think because I feel genuinely so blessed and privileged to have come out of that very dark space, I have so much empathy for people that find themselves in that space. So I really do embrace every day. And I also think I've been quite heavily influenced by certain members of my family who have had, you know, potentially terminal illness and have managed to come through that and have embraced life in a different way. And I think that's very much what carries me through day to day now, because it could have been so different and it's not. And I'm
Amazing.
just I'm grateful for my lot, Johnny, quite honestly.
Well, obviously, your book, Breaking Mad, which is an incredible book, obviously documents your
Thank
anxiety
you.
journey and coping mechanisms if someone who's listening is going through that. Let's talk happier things. Let's talk Celebs Go Dating. Let's get
Yes.
excited.
My
Um,
little home.
my little home. Do
Yeah.
you know what? Whenever I'm in Holborn, I go and stand outside the door and I just look up at it and I go, ah.
Oh, it's home from home, that
Home
building. I
from
love
home.
it.
So obviously last series we spoke just after it. We know what happened on that series. How do you carry the messages of what you learned from that experience to this year? And Love Island All Stars is beginning now on ITV2. Is there going to be an All Stars Celebs Go Dating this year? And if not, what do you want to do to make this show shake it up a little bit still?
I love doing Celebs Go Dating. And last series was different. We had obviously a new expert that joined us, Dr. Tara, and a lot of the shape of the show was shaken up. Sometimes, and I think sometimes it does take a moment to kind of get your head around shake-ups and changes. But this is TV, and no one is here to. I might be sitting here in my comfy slippers now, but comfy slippers, again and again is going to get a bit boring after a while. So we've got to keep evolving. We've got to keep shaking things up. We've got to keep true and authentic to our viewers, but we've also got to entice new ones as well. Last series, there was definitely a lot more spice and conflict and emotions. Like I myself definitely felt more emotionally charged doing the series than I had maybe been in previous series. Probably because the celebs came with maybe presenting more challenges for us, a little bit more pushback than we may have had previously. But I think that's brilliant, because that's what we're here to do. This is a show that isn't here just to coast. We are here to challenge our celebs and therefore the viewers by proxy, to ask probing questions, to pick out unproductive behavior. And I would hope that, should Celebs Go Dating come back this year, which I'm very hopeful it will. I mean, who knows? Channel 4 and the TV landscape is at a difficult time, but I would hope that we stand a good chance of bringing another series. And I think probably a little bit more of the same, a bit more holding our celebrities to account. And I think next time, if we do a series, for me, it's really drilling down to the authenticity of celebrities around their love lives and making sure that they are utilizing the experience. It's a TV show, of course, but it is real as well, and really utilizing the experience to hopefully improve their relationships when they come out of it.
So you're working with David Lloyd Clubs as we start a new year. The first campaign for you. Tell me all about it.
So you're going to love this, my love, because you are a busy bee like me. But have you heard of Nixon?
Is it my favourite Dutch stress relief practice?
Oh, it's funny you said that, JS. It is actually. No, honestly, I love it. I've been practicing and preaching this for donkey's years. It's this is kind of like my little hidden secret. No joke. So it's a very nice compliment when people say, "Oh my gosh, you do so much." Although remember, guys, social media, it's all smokes and mirrors. I am busy, but what you don't see is when I'm practicing Nixon, which is basically the art of doing nothing. That's what it stands for. It's what it translates to. And the art of doing nothing. If I was Instagramming that and telling people about it, I wouldn't really be doing the art of doing nothing, would I? But yeah, I've teamed up with David Lloyd's clubs, who are brilliant. They're actually exclusively trialing this at their clubs just to see kind of how it's going to pan out. And if anyone wants to join it, everybody can join a live demonstration of this on their Instagram feed, Instagram Live, which is at David Lloyd UK on the 18th of January. So just head to their website as well, davidlloydclubs.co.uk, and check out their blog. It's got everything about Nixon. So it really is the art of doing nothing. So it's an opportunity to calm the mind, calm the stress, stop yourself having burnout, and kind of just going with the flow, right? And carving out that time, because as Brits, we know, especially from our research, Brits, the majority said they were exhausted last year. Okay, people struggle to just do nothing. In fact, 1 in 5 don't even know how to do nothing, and 40% of people can't remember the last time they switched off. I'm asking you to do it, and I'm telling you why it's important, and everybody listening, because it reduces our anxiety. We know how important mental health is. The very purpose of your podcast is for that. So but we struggle as Brits to give ourselves permission to look after our mental health and to do nothing.
But
There
what
seems
does
to be a
nothing
stigma
actually
attached.
mean? Like,
Well,
what do you mean by nothing? Sat in a empty room staring at a
that's what you
wall?
want to do. That's what you want. So a Nixon class is slightly different in the fact that there are things there. So there's headphones to listen to music. You can lie on cushions. You can, maybe have a drink. You could maybe read if you want. Walk around. You can just sit. You could just notice the tree. I'm doing it now. If I wanted to do Nixon, even just kind of going, I wouldn't do it now because it's really cold, but going out in the garden, bare feet, and just walking around my garden and just noticing and just being. It's slightly different to kind of meditation and mindfulness, which is obviously a form of relaxation as well, which is a brilliant practice. But that is quite prescriptive in the sense that the focus is on being quiet, being still, being empty of thought. Okay. With Nixon, that might actually be what you want to do in that moment, but we're not telling you that that's what you have to do, if that makes sense. It's up to your own interpretation, whether it's pottering around making a cup of tea, whether it's then sitting down and maybe, I don't know, flicking through a magazine. I like to just literally lie there with my eyes closed with an eye mask on, and just listen to the sounds. It's giving yourself a chance to be still and be calm. But by structuring it, which I know sounds a little bit prescriptive and against it, but it's not. But the reason is because if we don't actually carve out the time and go, right, now for the next 50 minutes or 20 minutes, I'm going to do Nixon, we tend to go, oh, I can't be bothered. Or we say, oh, I'm going to do it. We never actually do it. I mean, but we never do it. We never do it. We all know we want to and we should do and we need to, blah, blah, blah. But if we don't treat it as important as a doctor's appointment, a work meeting, me doing a little podcast for you, we just don't do it. So this is why I'm really excited about working with David Lloyd, because this is, I think, the route in to Nixon becoming a thing unapologetically.
Well, it's making it part of your schedule, isn't it? If you go, I
Yeah.
work 7-day weeks, you work 7-day weeks, but I always make sure I've got an hour in the bath where I light the candle and I've got my book of the week and I've got my music
Brilliant.
and whatever. But it's that 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock hour is for
Love it.
bath time, and then it's EastEnders, and then it's this program, then it's meditation, then
Love
it's bed.
that.
So you've got to just put it in that routine.
Exactly that. And I flipping love that for you, Johnny. I didn't actually know you did that. And I'm really someone else who does that, Tom Reed Wilson. He loves a bath and a book. He does the same thing. Often he'll voice note me in the bath and I can hear the bath going. But it is really important, and it's finding that time. And sometimes I find a really good place, especially with busy kids and everything else in a freelance lifestyle, can be finding the routine that works for you. So the one thing I do have that's a routine in a freelance lifestyle is 90% of the time my kids' school runs. So if I did it yesterday. I got to the school run half an hour earlier, got a good parking space, sat there. Have you ever sat in a car, turned the engine off and just listened? It is the most beautiful peace that you'll ever experience. It's like this little cocoon. And for me, just sitting in the car sometimes with a cup of tea, I'm not distracted by anything else. I just sit and watch the world go by. So it's finding those pockets where you can make it work for you.
And that's why solo holidays are amazing. One of the
Oh,
amazing things on a solo holiday is
brilliant.
just sit there and just people watch. So I sit with my book and then I just
Mhm.
people watch around, and you try and work out what are their backgrounds, or are they arguing? You want to be part of that. And
Yeah.
oh, I
You
love
can
it.
eat
I
when
love
you
it.
want. You can eat what you want, when you want, go where you want. My husband and I, we actually really promote having solo holidays. And I think this is what I really want to do a lot this year is destigmatizing all of this. You know, if you sleep in separate beds, there must be something wrong with your relationship. If you go on solo holidays, you must be a loner or not get on with your partner. No, you're putting yourself first because
Yeah.
you want to have a healthy mind and you need to do whatever is going to help you do that. Sleep well, eat well, do you know what I mean? And this is, I think, where we all really need to shift that focus and that stigma.
Oh, amazing. Anna, well, thanks to the David Lloyd Club for setting up this interview. If you want to give me a free membership, feel free. There's one near me. It's very expensive.
A really good club. It's a really good club.
I know. And I'm trying to get, because it has the swimming pool outside in the summer. And if you can't afford Soho House, you'd want to go to
Yeah.
David Lloyd Club, but they won't give it to you in membership. I'm
Give him
joking.
get
I'll take
David
that
Lloyd, give
out.
him a membership. Johnny's your boy. He'll be Instagramming it permanently.
Yeah, I will. And TikToking
It'll
it.
pay for itself.
Yeah, literally. Thank you to the four media group for setting up the interview, and of course, a massive thank you to Anna. As ever, there's 100,000 episodes of Anna on Security School. I absolutely love her. You know I love her. And there's episodes of Paul C. Bronson as well, and all the cast of Celebs Go Dating through the years. So do go and check them out in the Security Insecure library, on TikTok at Johnny Seifert 92, on Instagram at Security Insecure Podcast at Johnny Seifert is where you can find me. I'll put previous teasers out there. Click that subscribe button, leave a 5-star rating, leave a review, and let's keep spreading the word. It's okay to not be okay. I'm Johnny Seifert. Thanks so much for watching or listening. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.